A crowded summer food festival pulsed with music, smoke, and laughter, yet all of it froze for a single father named Liam when he saw a woman stagger, clutch her throat, her eyes wide with terror. He didn't know her name, didn't know her status, didn't know she was someone whose signature could move nations and whose wealth could tilt industries. All he knew was that she was dying, right there, in front of hundreds of people who were too shocked to act. What Liam did in the next 30 seconds would change his life, his daughter's future, and the heart of a woman who had never once been saved by anyone. The truth, he had no idea that saving her would mean she'd save him back. Stay with me, because this moment is where two completely different worlds collide, one of a quiet janitor dad just trying to afford his daughter's school shoes, and the other of a billionaire woman who had everything except someone brave enough to see her as human. And their lives begin with a cough, a panic, and a choice he didn't hesitate to make. Liam Reyes, 33, was holding his 8-year-old daughter Ava's hand as they waited in line for cotton candy. His uniform shirt was still tucked into his jeans from his morning janitorial shift at the elementary school. Sweat stained the collar, but Ava didn't care. She squeezed his hand excitedly as she watched the vendor spin blue sugar into a cloud. For a moment, life felt normal. Manageable. He'd worked overtime all week, skipped lunch twice, and even sold his old toolbox online, just so he could bring her here. He didn't notice the woman behind them until he heard the strangled gasp. She was tall, elegant, dressed in a cream-colored blouse and tailored slacks, far too expensive for a place like this. She looked like she belonged at charity galas, not standing behind a father and daughter fighting over what color cotton candy to pick. But now she lurched forward, her hands at her throat, her face turning a frightening shade of red. Someone screamed. Someone else backed away, but Liam didn't think. He moved. He pushed through the small crowd gathering around her. "Ava, stay right here," he ordered, his voice steady even as panic flooded the air. The woman collapsed to her knees, her eyes filling with tears as she fought for breath. "It's okay, I've got you," he said, positioning himself behind her. He performed the Heimlich with practiced strength, 3 thrusts, 4, and on the 5th, a piece of food shot from her mouth. She gasped violently. Air flooded back into her lungs. Color rushed to her cheeks as the crowd finally exhaled. Liam knelt in front of her. "Can you breathe? Are you okay?" She blinked at him, tears streaking down her face. "Why yes, thank you." But she didn't finish, because Ava came running, hugging her father's side. "Daddy. Is she okay?" The woman's eyes softened instantly. Something in the little girl's concerned face made her smile through the remnants of shock. "I'm okay, sweetheart," she whispered. Liam helped her stand. Even then, he didn't realize the world had just shifted. He didn't know that anonymous cameras had caught everything, or that the woman he had just saved was Elena Morgan, one of the most influential and wealthiest women in the country. He only saw a human being in distress, not a billionaire in designer heels. Elena steadied herself. I don't know how to thank you." "You don't need to," Liam said, brushing dirt from his knees. Anyone would have helped. But she knew the truth, not everyone would have. She looked between him and Ava with a strange interest, almost longing. Before she could ask his name, an assistant finally found her and rushed her away, still shaken. Liam didn't think much of it. He bought Ava her cotton candy. They went home. Life went on, but Elena didn't forget, not his face, not his courage, not the warmth in his voice as he anchored her back to life, and certainly not the way his daughter looked at him, with love so raw it made Elena ache. She didn't know it yet, but she'd soon search for him, and when she finally found him, the truth of who she was would bring chaos, and healing neither of them saw coming. Chapter 2. Okay, before you think it was a simple rescue story, stay till the end. Because when Elena walked back into Liam's life, she didn't come as the woman he saved, she came as someone desperate to finally feel safe. 3 days later, Liam's day was crashing around him. His landlord had just handed him a notice, rent increase he couldn't afford. Bills stacked on the small kitchen table. His bank account had dipped so low it triggered another overdraft fee. He pressed his palms into his eyes, breathing through the panic as Ava quietly colored at the table. She was used to his stress. Too used to it. A knock shook the apartment door. "Probably another bill," Liam muttered, opening it. Instead, he found Elena Morgan standing in the hallway. Her hair was pinned neatly, her posture graceful, but her eyes held uncertainty, as though she wasn't sure if she belonged in this part of town. Behind her stood 2 security guards at a respectful distance. Liam blinked. "You're the woman from the festival." Her lips curved into a soft smile. "Elena. And you're the man who saved my life." He stepped aside awkwardly. You didn't have to come all this way. Actually, she said, walking in gently, I did. Ava looked up from the table, recognizing her instantly. Oh. You're the lady who choked. Elena laughed softly. Yes, I'm the lady who choked. The tension eased. Liam offered her water. She accepted, but her hands trembled just slightly, an echo of the fear she had felt that day. She'd been so close to dying. For someone who controlled empires, it had shaken her to the core. I came to thank you properly, she said, sitting across from him. And to ask how I can repay you. There's nothing to repay, Liam insisted. I'm just glad you're okay. But Elena didn't look convinced. She took in the peeling paint, the small table, the worn-out couch, the faint leak under the kitchen sink. She wasn't judging, she was realizing. About him. About his life. About what he carried. Liam, you saved my life without hesitation. The least I can do is help you with yours. He shook his head firmly. I'm not a charity case. Her gaze softened. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering gratitude. Ava tugged Liam's sleeve. Daddy, maybe let her. She looks nice. Elena smiled at the little girl. I'd like to help you both, if you'll let me. Liam felt a lump in his throat. No one had ever offered to help him. Not once. Not even family. His life was built on doing everything alone. Trust was hard. Pride was harder, but when a sudden drip echoed from the kitchen sink, followed by a small splash onto the floor, Liam rubbed his forehead and sighed. Maybe, we can talk. Elena nodded gently. We can talk. And whatever you need, I promise you're not alone in it. What began as simple gratitude turned into hours of conversation. She asked about his dreams, his fears, his daughter. She listened, not like a billionaire, but like a woman who hadn't been listened to in years. As dusk turned to night, Elena stood to leave. I'd like to see you both again, she said softly. Ava beamed. Liam hesitated, but only for a moment. Yeah, he finally said. We'd like that too. When the door closed behind her, he realized something unsettling. His heart had reacted to her, not to her beauty, though she was striking, but to her kindness. Her sincerity. Her vulnerability. He barely knew her, yet he wanted to. What none of them knew was that this gentle beginning would soon spiral into something deeper. Something life-altering. Because as Elena stepped into her waiting car, she pressed a hand to her chest, feeling the rapid thrum beneath her ribs. She saved me, she whispered, more than he knows. And the journey that would unite their broken worlds had just begun.